Welcome to the Extraordinary Podcast, where we identify God's uncommon work in common life. Recognizing God's work requires intentionality, but articulating it motivates and inspires. Don't forget to subscribe and never miss an episode. In today's episode, I have a conversation with George Starkey, where he shares about his life growing up, which he said was poor, to his time in the military, to his time at GE, and how he recognizes that God saw him through. And he ends with a quote from General Patton that there are no atheists in a foxhole. So let's get into the conversation with George. George, thank you for taking time to be here and a guest on our podcast. So we appreciate you taking time to share with us today. So thank you.
It's all right.
As we begin, could you share a little bit about kind of your life growing up, some of the contexts, siblings, where'd you live, those types of things?
We lived in Burlington, and we were what you consider poor, you know. I had 4 older sisters and 1 younger brother. And there's 2 sisters left. Of course, they're one of them same age as Dolores.
So did you have any church background growing up?
Oh yeah, we went to church all the time. My mom, it was Sunday evening, Wednesday night, you know. I mean, it was...
If the doors were open, you were there?
Yeah, it was at church on Washington Street.
Okay.
Go up those steps, you know.
Got your exercise before you went to church.
Yeah, and then I can remember, if you go alongside the church on the west side, there was a sidewalk, and then you run some steps and you get up to the back door. And I know there was a mulberry tree back there, because we used to go up there to eat them mulberries. But, yeah, I went to church all the time.
Yeah, those are fun memories. The mulberry tree and just growing up often has a lot of fun memories. Now, can you share with us just a little bit about Rick?
Oh, Rick, yeah.
Who Rick is to you and
Well, he's my nephew. He was my youngest sister. She was number 4. That's her little boy. And he ended up, Mom pretty much, Grandma pretty much raised him.
So what's something about Rick that people might not know?
He's a good cook.
Does he have any favorite dish that he makes that you think is really good or that he really likes?
His mac and cheese is good. And he makes the beef and noodles.
Mm.
He had them the last time that we had the small group thing.
And your mom taught him how to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she did a lot of his upbringing and cooking is one of the things that they really bonded over.
Yeah, his mac and cheese is Grandma's recipe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says all the time.
Well, Rick definitely loves to eat. I don't know where he puts it all, but he loves to eat.
I wish he wouldn't eat like a pig.
So, but yeah, that's fun. I appreciate you sharing a little about Rick. I know he has a special place in your heart, and you care for him deeply.
Yeah, he went to public school some, and he works through Old Hope Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, he's been working at Wendy's for quite a while through that.
Yeah, he's a good worker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he works 23 hours every week, and he always gives me a report. So it's good to
yeah.
Now, one thing about you, George, is that you have a sarcastic sense of humor.
Sorry.
Is that something you've always had? Is it something you've developed? Did either your parents have that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of got it from the guys I work with, I think. Talk about a sarcastic bunch.
Where did you work?
General Electric.
Okay. How many years were you there?
35.
35.
Yeah.
What did you do at General Electric?
I was a supervisor for about 20 years.
Mm. So it's sad to see it not here in town anymore.
Oh, yeah, I hated to see it because we worked there at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were lucky.
Yeah, it was a great place to work, and I know the factory's still there, but very few employees compared to what it used to.
Yeah, the last I heard, they had ABB had a few employees that work in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they still got anybody there or not.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing about you is you served in the military, and in fact served in combat. So I want to say thank you for your service. Can you share as much as you're comfortable about what branch did you serve in and any of the?
I was in the Army.
Can you share anything about your experiences?
I was in the infantry, you know. And actually, I was in some of the same spots that David Gilbert was in Vietnam. Because the Marines might be on one side of the base and we'd be on the other or something, you know. But it was something, you know, you see a lot of stuff. A lot of it you don't want to see again, but you amaze yourself, really. I mean, it's what you figure out you can actually do.
That is an excellent point of it pushes you, and sometimes it's good to be pushed. To extend ourselves. How long were you in the Army?
Just 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. Where did you do your training in? And
well, I went to boot camp in Fort Bliss, Texas, and then I went to Fort Polk, Louisiana for infantry training. That's kind of a haul. But it was, we had this big, I don't know if he was an Eskimo or an Indian, what he was, for a DI in there. And he wasn't the nicest person you ever saw. But, you know, you get through it. And sometimes you, after you're over there, you kind of wish maybe you'd had a little more. But
yeah, your training officers aren't there to make life easy for you.
no, they don't make life easy for you.
They're trying to get you so you can be in the.
Almost everybody that was in my basic training outfit ended up being in the infantry.
Any particular reason?
You know, the Vietnam War was going on, and you either went to Vietnam or you went to Korea. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to say thank you for your service and your sacrifice with that for our country. Now, kind of along that lines, you have a hobby with some firearms.
Oh,
yeah,
I go skeet shooting.
Okay.
Or I try, you know.
How did you get involved in that?
Well, the guys I worked with at GE, some of them did it, and they wanted me to do it. And so finally I decided, well, I'll give it a shot. So I went and I bought a gun. And one guy lived in the country, and I went out there and I shot it a few times, just to see what the pattern does with the shotgun.
So do you just when you would go skeet shooting, would you just do it somewhere around here? Someone would have a mechanism to
we
shoot
up at Fairfield.
Okay.
At the Southeast Iowa Ski Club. It's a nice facility. They got, I think, 4 trap ranges. There's a difference between trap and skeet.
I'm not familiar with trap, so what is the difference?
Well, if you're shooting trap, we're shooting those clay birds, either thing. But when you're shooting traps, the birds all go away from you. You know, you holler pole and they either go this way or that way or that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's away from you all the time. Where with skeet, you got 8 stations. And you start off at the first station and you holler pole and you get a target coming from a low house coming across like this. And then you holler pole again and you get, well, I said it backwards. The first one you holler, you get out of a high house, comes like over your head down. And then the next one you get a double and you get both of them, they go like this. Mm. So that's what's the most fun.
Yeah. So do you prefer one or the other over the other?
Oh yeah, I like skeet better than I do trap. But boy, some of them people are serious, and they got a lot of the young kids now that are getting into the trap shooting. Mm-hmm. And they're good too. They got good reflexes and.
Now you also have a collection in your home. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Well, I don't consider it a collection. I got a few, but I keep them all locked up.
Yeah. Probably compared to the average person, it might be a collection, but
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So essentially, friends is what got you involved in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so just something that you enjoy going to Fairfield and.
Well, usually we shoot every Tuesday. We'll meet at 9:00. We get up there about 10. We shoot, and by the time we're done shooting, it's close to 11. It was time to eat then. Mm-hmm. So then we go somewhere for lunch. And it turns out to be pretty expensive, about like golf, I think. Because anymore, the shells are so expensive, about $10 a box. We shoot 3 rounds, so that's $30. And then you got to figure it costs you $4.50 a round to shoot up there. So it runs into quite a bit of money.
Yeah. Like most hobbies, there's expenses that are involved.
Yeah.
But it's something that's fun, that tests your skills and improve your skills, but also that you do with the group and that you just kind of make
My skills need improved. I wasn't doing too bad, and then I had that stroke almost 2 years ago, and ever since then I haven't been shooting it very good. Yeah. But now this year, this last few times, I started to hit more of them. Mm-hmm. But there for a while, I couldn't hit nothing.
Yeah. That's frustrating, I'm sure, especially if you've been doing it for so many years that you're used to a certain standard.
Yeah.
Now, you are someone who, on one hand, you have deep convictions. On the other hand, you have a huge heart, and you really care for especially those close for you. How do you balance those types of things?
I don't know. I'm just how I am. I don't. I guess I kind of be for the underdog. Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things I when I'm talking particularly with family, people just say how much you care for Sally, and just seeing your heart for caring for individuals and so you said you root for the underdog. Is that something you've always done, or is that?
I think so.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been an underdog in life? Is that part of it, or anything with that?
Yeah, I suppose.
Mm. Well, and when we look back at our lives, I know we have ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and you've had a a lot of really good experience in life, but you've also had some heartaches that were deep. Can you speak to any of those, particularly losing a spouse or a child?
Well, Sally's my rock. She's really some. I don't know what I'd do if something happened to her.
Sally was on the podcast several months ago, and she's just a wonderful woman, to say the least. And I'm grateful to know her, and just seeing your love and your relationship is fun and inspiring. But
I drive her nuts sometimes.
I'm sure every marriage has those types of moments, and
Well, she's kind of OCD, you know. It's got to be just a certain way, and it drives her crazy if something's off until she can get it fixed. Yeah, she's been having kind of a rough year this year. See, we were at the ER last night from, I don't know, about 9 something to 2:30 this morning. And I hope we're done with that.
Yeah, it's been a tough time for her, to say the least, and I'm confident she shares your sentiment on being done and on the road to recovery without any other setbacks. But I don't want to push the envelope here any, but you've lost a spouse. You've had a spouse that passed away.
Yes.
The mother of your children. Can you speak to maybe something someone doesn't necessarily realize about losing a spouse?
Well, you know, when that happens, it just, you know, your whole world is messed up. You have to figure out how you're going to keep going with everything. But yeah, my wife died in 2003, and Sally's husband died, I think, the year before that.
It definitely changes things,
Yeah.
and it's never easy, no matter the situation. But I appreciate you opening up about that. But as we conclude, we think about the different things that you have experienced in life. Can you speak to how Jesus has helped you throughout your life?
Well, I say, somebody said something, I don't know if it was Patton or who it was, said you won't find an atheist in the foxhole. And that's true. But when you don't know what's going to happen next, especially in a combat situation, so you look back on it and you think, well, you made it, you know. So I wasn't crazy enough to sign up for another term.
Did you have some in your unit that did?
Oh yeah, there's always somebody that does it, but I figured I got through there 1 year in that place, and that was enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the no atheist in the foxhole. I've heard it before. And it does sound like a Patton quote. That does sound like something he would say.
He was a crude dude.
Was he still involved in the military when you were in?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because I know he's big in World War II, but I didn't know how long his tenure was. But yeah. Well, I like to end with a very open-ended question to see if there's anything else that you'd like to share Anything we didn't talk about, or anything to come to mind?
When are you going to open up them curtains?
We can talk about that. And you know, this is I appreciate your honesty and just your you don't beat around the bush, and I appreciate that about you, George. So, well, anything else today?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, I like to make sure that I don't cut anybody off. But thank you for being a guest on our podcast. I appreciate you sharing. And
I figured you were getting down to the bottom of the barrel here.
Well, we appreciate you, George. So we're thankful that you were able to make time for this, particularly with all that Sally has going on. And so thank you for being a guest on the show. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Be on the lookout for how God does uncommon work in common life. And please subscribe to never miss an episode.